The Haunting of Tri Tun, Forbidden Land and Borderland Spirits Chapter 1. The Drum of Death. This story unfolds in Tri Tun and Giang, a region celebrated by the grandiose title of Paradise, yet whispered among locals as Forbidden Land. It's where my family made their home, nestled right against the Cambodian border. Back when my mother was a child, an unspoken terror gripped the entire village. Every evening, families would secure bags of dried food to the walls. It was a ritual of survival. The moment the village drum sounded, everyone had to flee. The drum didn't herald a festival. It signaled the brutal invasion of the Khmer Rouge. History has documented this cruelty. Women impaled on stakes, children torn apart, and men's skulls used as ashtrays. Should you ever visit, you'll find the skull pagoda at Ba Chuk, an undeniable, chilling testament. Our house stood beside the Cambodian River, a river that consistently brought calamity. On any night punctuated by the drum's beat, the following morning would reveal bloated bodies, both human and animal, floating listlessly on the water's surface. Chapter 2. The Pale Hand. Our stilt house was erected in an eerie space. Behind it stood two ancient kapok trees, heavy with haunted rumors, flanked by towering mango and coconut trees. It was as if our home was a silent focal point of negative energy in the heart of Tri Tun. One night, my mother was lying weakly on her bamboo bed, readying herself for the early sleep common to those in the countryside. Suddenly, a strange sound arose, a rustling, scraping, like the scratching of cat claws, but heavier and more drawn out. Then a loud, horrifying RIP, as if the roof were being torn in two. Trembling, my mother turned her head upward, and all sound died in her throat. A hand. It was ghostly white, unnaturally long, with sharp, hooked fingernails like the claws of a demon, reaching straight through a gap in the thatched roof. My mother's mouth went rigid, only able to emit a helpless, My grandmother, cleaning up after dinner in the back, caught a glimpse of the white shadow lurking. Without a scream, without a word of fear, she seized a machete and charged forward. She raised the machete high and struck a fierce blow at the roof, sending palm fronds scattering. She gritted her teeth, her voice filled with icy resolve and hatred. "This is a tiger's den. I'm awake at night, I sleep during the day. Get out!" The Pale Hand retreated without a trace. But the haunting wasn't over. A few days later, a terrible lightning strike shook the entire stilt house. The following morning, the towering coconut tree next to the house, right beside the bed where the ghostly hand had reached, was found split in two by the lightning. Locals said, "Lightning only strikes where evil spirits dwell." Chapter 3. Floating Spirits and the Curse of Multiple Deaths. The terror continued to haunt my family for years to come. My second uncle, a 15-year-old boy, would often go catching eels and frogs at night. One bright moonlit night, he and his friend Lich were walking along the levee. They ran into an acquaintance, Mr. Ba Ban. "Good evening, Uncle Ba." My second uncle bowed. They passed each other. Suddenly, my second uncle froze, realizing a terrible truth. Mr. Ba Ban had been dead for 4 days. They both spun around. Mr. Ba Ban was standing there, but not touching the ground. His body was floating, hovering above the earth, turning his head to stare at them. They ran in terror. My second uncle begged for mercy. Lich threw a rock. Strangely, the rock seemed to pass right through him. The ghost of Mr. Ba Ban still floated, flying after them close to the ground. Afterward, both of them came down with a raging fever. My second uncle was delirious, constantly muttering, "I'm sorry, Uncle Ba. I didn't know. Spare me." Although he survived the fever, Lich, the one who threw the rock at the ghost, was bitten by a snake and died not long after in Dong Min. More tragically, Mr. Ba Ban's grave was right next to the road. After a rainstorm, the grave was struck by lightning and split in two at the head. From then on, misfortune befell both families. Mr. Ba Ban's family fell into disarray. His children became scattered and destitute. As for my family, within 3 consecutive years, 4 relatives died suddenly, without illness, without reason. People said that Mr. Ba Ban was subject to the curse of multiple deaths, and he was constantly dragging my family members with him. It wasn't until a skilled shaman was called in to drive a wooden sword straight down into Mr. Ba Ban's grave that the terrifying series of deaths finally ended. Chapter 4. The ghostly love affair under the bamboo thicket. This final story is another tale of doomed love tainted by injustice. When my mother was 18, there was a young couple in the village, 15 or 16 years old, who were in love. But the two families had a deep-seated hatred for each other, and strict rules prevailed. Children had to obey absolutely, and the disgrace of unwed pregnancy was a social death sentence. When the girl became pregnant, they both confessed and were met with fury. The girl was whipped mercilessly by her father. The boy was cursed and driven from home by his parents. Desperate, they agreed to meet at the market to buy rat poison. That evening, on the deserted riverbank, the boy drank first. He writhed, foaming at the mouth, and died. The girl, filled with fear and shame, swallowed the poison as well. The two bodies were buried separately. But on the third night after the burial, the boy's mother dreamed that he came back, wailing in anguish. "Mom, why did you bury me here? Bury me with my wife and my child, Mom." At the same time, at the girl's house, they were also being haunted by her spirit. In the end, the two families, overcoming their hatred, had to sit down together. They decided to exhume the bodies and bury the young couple together in the mango orchard, as a married couple united in the earth. The spirits of the young couple stopped disturbing the families, but they manifested as a source of fear for the entire village. People often saw two figures, teenagers, leaning against each other, sitting silently watching the river at the bamboo thicket along the bank. They only spooked drunkards or violent men in the village. One time, Mr. Tam, a man known for beating his wife and children, was walking past drunk and saw the two figures sitting motionless like stone statues. He staggered closer, yelling, "What are you two doing just sitting there?" The two figures slowly turned their heads. Their faces were deathly pale. The boy's mouth was still foaming, and the girl was grinning hideously. She hissed, "You want to see my face? I'll show you my face." Mr. Tam was terrified, running for his life and becoming bedridden. From then on, no one dared to walk past that stretch of river alone after dark. The haunting of Tri Tun is still there, silently lurking under the kapok trees, on the Cambodian River, and under the bamboo thickets along the roads. To this very day.